2.0, 3.0, 4.0. I don't know what iteration we are on at this point. But it's been a long time coming. And I said, if you watch the video I posted yesterday, I said that this is a space that I've avoided overhauling for the past few years because we've been in this sort of habitual ongoing house hunting, and I haven't wanted to tackle this space because it's like I don't want to get this place all organized and optimized just to lose it, just to have to move after putting in all the work and getting things just where I like them. So for 2 years, a bunch of it in quarantine and isolation and all that, I haven't had a good space down here to film, and it's been very crowded and cramped. And this is just my basement. We have an unfinished basement. There is some wood paneling on the wall, and there's a drop ceiling above me. And then I put 2 LED lights above that in those spaces. But it's not a pretty space, and it's raining really hard in St. Louis, and because of that, I am reminded that the basement also leaks when it rains a little bit if the gutters aren't perfectly cleaned. So things to take care of. Not a perfect space by any stretch of the imagination, but it is my space now, and so I wanted to not my space. It is my studio space, my workshop, as I have built it out for myself at this point, and so I wanted to walk you through what I've got going on and why. And as a brief introduction, oh yeah, I've got the stack of pelicans in the back. I don't think I have a Greens Production sticker, and that's not my fault. But uh, yeah, this is the new space, and so this basement. Let me take you to the far side so you can see all of it. And my apologies in advance. I've been trying to figure out how to do audio for these live streams. I can like hook up all my gear and stream, but then I can't really move around well. And if I want to move around well, I need my phone, and to reliably hook audio into my phone, it's a problem. Thank you, Dane. I will sport that sticker with pride, my Greens Production sticker. I owe most of my professional career to the opportunities that Green Productions gave me. True story. So this is the basement. I'm in the corner by the HVAC and stuff, which, by the way, challenge when you're shooting. It is very, very challenging to shoot down here in the winter when this heater is blasting. And Jay, if my audio is horrible, just let me know. Or if you know how to get better audio into my iPhone, I've struggled. It seems like it doesn't work. It used to work on the old software. I need to try again. But so this basement used to have here in the middle sort of my gear. I wanted it away from the walls because I didn't want spiders and whatever else. And I thought in the middle of the room would be better. And it just kept building and spreading till there wasn't a space. And it was separated into over there and over here. But essentially what I did was move it all into the corner because as I started to move it around, it was all covered with spiders anyway. So it's not like the spiders were afraid to go from there to here. And so moved it all there, which opened all of this up really nicely, and then allowed me over here to spread my stuff out a little bit. And we just had like storage of family stuff along that wall. And instead I moved that to the other side of the basement where we store the rest of our family stuff, and put my gear along this wall and my tools and stuff. And then there's no more family stuff here. My other 2 shelves, we've got my gear shelf of stuff I sort of don't use that often. This is all grip and electric gear. I've got the fog machine, obviously, and a whole bunch of fog juice, like a product turntable, slates, flags, bounce, that sort of stuff. And then a lens that I never use, and just some miscellaneous stuff. All my umbrellas are up top. And so there's this shelf, which has stuff that I need handy. There's obviously my sweet, sweet FAA drone vest. Keep that handy. And then this was the big change that I made, and what makes it sort of more of a workshop to me is this is all sort of my materials, music, paint, spray paint, steel wool. This is like my mixer, all my guitar stuff, the saxophone. This is wigs and makeup and things like that. And then we've got empty cardboard boxes for shipping, and other things that you use empty cardboard boxes for. Have the MIDI keyboard up here in my Quasar boxes, and then FPV drones. This is all fabric. This is the sewing machine, and then I've got more grip and electric, and that's techno trash down there. So that's now what I have at my disposal. And let me come back here. Where how do I see the chat that went by? There we go. Drone vest is the most important item. We all know that. And the Boom Reactive hard helmet, full brim, an essential item. And then a teeny tiny baby coal hat. So now with this space sort of spread out a little bit more thoughtfully, instead of cramming, like those last few videos that I shot in December were shot here, but the table. So I built this table a while ago, and it's just 3 giant pieces, like 2x12s that I cut up, and then I built a galvanized pipe base and put it on wheels. And I've had this table. I built this back at my old studio, and then I've got the pop-up green screen under here as well. But this I would have to roll around and make room for. And so it's like putting it sort of here in the middle of the room and then cramming myself behind it. And I just didn't like how it worked. It didn't feel comfortable. And then when everything was set up, I couldn't move. I couldn't really do anything, and I had to walk around the table. So now with it being open, I can take the table and just roll it way over there if I want and get it completely out of the way. Right now there's a Quasar plugged in on it, so I don't want to just roll it and find that on the floor. But that opens up this whole space. And so the way I have it set up right now for these new YouTube videos that I'm doing, I decided to put myself as close to the wall over there as possible, which lets my shot sort of show a whole lot of space back here, which makes me feel more creative and makes it feel like a more professional space rather than being slammed up against a wall or something. So because I have the duty to do this, this is the gear setup for the YouTube videos I've been making. But we've got the Sony a7S III with the 24-70 G master. I just leave it at 24. I could go 20 millimeter. I have a 21.8 that I could put on it, but this is fine. And then the Polar Pro Basecamp system, small HD Focus 7, Hudson Spider Mosey, obviously, going into a 42-inch silver balance umbrella. Got a Deity VMic D3 Pro running straight into camera for the audio. And then over there's bags and stuff. But I put the Vocal Booth to Go sound blanket here, which makes such a difference down here. I don't know. I'm just going to, if I talk this way, you can hear how it sounds. And if I talk this way, you can hear how it sounds. And it just sounds so much nicer, so much better. And yeah. So I put this up. It does sort of bisect the space visually a little bit, but for me, it's worth it for how much better it sounds down here when I'm doing that. But so that's like my studio space as I'm filming these YouTube videos. And because it's out of the way now, it's not in the middle of everything, it lets me have my workshop. And so I'm going to walk through what's going on in these different spaces. And I'm going to use the other camera so that if there's comments, I'll actually see them. But let's see here. Professional YouTuber. So first off is the Dewalt power tools. Obviously, got to have a chainsaw. Got the sawhorses there. And then this is the power tool kit with, I've got the circular saw, the reciprocating saw. There's an oscillating multi-tool in there. And then we've got a drill, an impact hammer. Yeah, Jay, Dewalt is the way to go. I've worked with several over the years, and I'm slowly replacing. I had a whole bunch of Husky or Cobalt tools, and they've all, like, the labels fall off, and it's just been garbage. And so I've been slowly, like, when a screwdriver breaks, I get Dewalt screwdrivers, and I'm getting it all. Yeah. So my buddy Wes, can't wait until the construction YouTube live. My buddy Wes reached out to me and was saying, he asked if I was sponsored by Husky, since you could see it in the last video really well. And he was saying it's kind of cool to have a tool sponsorship by somebody who talks about mental health and emotions, because those can be very different worlds. And I told him that is cool, and it'd be nice to have a sponsor, but I'm not actually good with power tools at all. And so I would be a horrible ambassador for, like, yeah, be in touch with your emotions, and you can still be bad at construction. So maybe we'll hold off on the YouTube live construction for now, but we'll see. Orbital sander, got the Dremel there. And yeah, just the hand tools. Then coming over, this is really where I put way too much time. Up here is all sorts of various connectors and things like that. And then we've got screwdrivers, blades and hex keys, hand tools, and we're getting to my favorite part. Screws and nails, not so much. Here we go. Look at this guy. Tape, glue, staples. This drawer, I can do a nice lay flat of the tools. I try to do it in the drawer that way. I mean, they're laid out thoughtfully. That's not haphazard. Everything's touching the bottom. But we've got tape, we've got stickers, we've got double-sided tape, Velcro, Gorilla Glue, epoxy, 6000, wood glue, regular Gorilla Glue, hot glue, staples, T50 staples, duct tape, electrical tape, packing tape, painter's tape, paper tape, double-sided tape, masking tape. We've got a lot of tape. Everything except gaffer's tape is in this drawer. So that's my happy drawer. This drawer is all full of electrical stuff. I'm taking Mark Rober's class in a couple of weeks in the end of February, and so I needed this Arduino kit, and I'm excited to learn how to use it. And then we've got a mostly empty drawer, caulk, spackle, sandpaper, other big tools, heat guns, saws, bolt cutters, hatchet. This little thing was a hot tip from Adam Savage's channel. This is a spray paint mixer. You just attach this into your drill, put your spray can in there, and then you stir it up, and you don't have to shake it, and it gets way more out of the cans. It can revive like an old dead can like nothing else. It's impressive. And then lastly, clamps and ropes and things like that. So I like this, and now I like having access to it, and it's actually labeled. That was new 2 days ago. But as I'm starting to build more and construct more, this is a lovely thing for my peace of mind, and gets me to my last point, which I will wait to make until it's my last point. But coming over there, this is the charging station. Not all of us are rich, most of us have to shake the can. Yeah, Dane, it's fine that you're not rich. And I believe 2 of the people watching this, I still have unpaid invoices with. And it's coming, guys. I'm sorry. All this was bought on my own debt. But charging station for batteries, Sony LP, Sony Z, and V-mount batteries. This is like my main. If I had a desk, it would be this down here. We got dead batteries, charged batteries, power strip under there, and then here, can I switch which cameras this is? Or do I just, okay, I can't. Yeah, the 2 guys commenting I have outstanding invoices with. Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe that's why you're commenting, just keeping me on my toes. I'm doing my best. But under here, this is like my favorite accessories. This is when I pack for a gig, I reach into this box. This is where I have brand new lens cloths, my first aid kit that I usually put in my bag anytime I go anywhere, bug spray, rope, safety goggles, earplugs, headphones. This is sort of a intervalometer. This is just a lovely catch-all for stuff that I might need. Tape when I used to own lavalier microphones before I just decided to hire Jay anytime I needed actual thoughtful audio. And then this is all chargers for every little different thing. Everything in here is a charger, and I hate it, but that's the world we live in. And one day I will give this and a pile of wall warts, I will will it to my son, and he will inherit this collection of electrical waste. This is what I used to refer to as my treasure chest. And it's just wires, cables, adapters, cases, walkie-talkies, screen calibration tool. If I'm trying to connect 2 different things, I can probably reach into here and make it happen. And then lastly, we have a bunch of hard drives, which are thrown in here thoughtlessly, because I only really use 1 hard drive for the most part upstairs, and its backup, which lives up there. And then the moment you've all been waiting for, this, I really should have turned a light on in there. This is the camera cabinet. And I talked about this, I think, as I was packing in a live stream like 2 weeks ago. But I went back and forth on, let me switch this around. I feel weird now. I went back and forth on whether or not to like make this beautiful and lay out all my gear and have lens, camera, monitor, like do it all right and make it look beautiful. But the problem is I seldom shoot down here, let alone with a bunch of gear. When I reach into this thing, I'm always packing a bag. And it didn't make sense to pack my bag, go shoot, come home, unpack the bag into a pretty arrangement, and then the next time I need to shoot, pack it all back up. It was just 2 extra steps that, as aesthetically pleasing as it is, wasn't actually a good use of my time, it turns out. So I keep my camera bag, my f-stop ICU, mostly packed with my lenses and my beautiful old NAR box, rest in peace. I keep this mostly ready to go, and then obviously I've got a bunch of my gear set up for making YouTube videos right now. But when I store that, I store it in here. We've got the drone, we've got HDMI cables and things like that. Rhino slider, 24-inch. And down here, this is what could make Jay cry. Let me spin this. So this is my audio gear, thrown lifelessly. This is all my cables and adapters and microphones that I don't use that much. And then this bag here is my audio kit. And let me bust this out just to get Jay's judgment. So missing notably is the Zoom F6 field recorder. But what I usually travel with is the Rode NTG3, and this is a Rode NT5 pencil condenser microphone. And I probably use this 70% of the time and this 30% of the time. And this is the windscreen for that. I've got a pair of bad headphones because I just don't like bringing a big set of cans. I have some very tears fall up on the cheek of the sound guy. Yeah, I know, man. That's why I hire you now. I sold all my lavs and everything. I'm glad we met. And then I've got a Zoom H1. And let me tell you, if you've got one of these, you don't need a sound guy. This is all you need. You just set this. It has microphones built into it. Like if you're doing an interview over there, you can just like set this here. Perfect sound. Absolutely perfect sound. It's going to sound like it was, ADR in a recording studio. These things are just magical. If I want to record myself, I can put it in my pocket just like that. And then talking, it just sounds great. You don't even need a lav really because it has the microphones right there on top. For anyone watching this later and not seeing the comments, I am gaslighting. But we've got appropriate windscreens for all that stuff. Don't fall for it, guys. Yeah, so this is the Meek audio kit. When I'm shooting an interview and somebody is stationary and my F6 can do the job, I reach into this bag and make it happen as best as I can. And no one can tell the difference on these videos people watch on their phones. So that's this case. We've got the Ronin RS2. It is a good recorder if you know how to use it right and you know what you're doing. It is not like even the Zoom F6 with its 32-bit float. It is not like I've got that, so I don't need to worry about anything. The tour continues. We are almost done. This is the Pelican Air 1535, which has absolutely nothing in it. It used to be the audio kit, and then it was just too big. It seemed like a big case to have to bring all the time. This monster here is the, Pelican 1610. And I'm going to get this out because it's awesome. And it makes me happy. And for this, here we go. There's a reason we got this out. There we go. So this guy is my FPV case. And everything in here is everything I need to fly FPV. And this is a jam-packed case, but here we have my Johnny FPV 5-inch quad, which is just fantastic. The Lumineer something or other. It's been a while. It's been cold. But I've got my batteries, my chargers. I have another drone which I can fly indoors all too well. The controller, the goggles, a whole bunch of extra props for all this stuff. And then what I didn't know, stop doing that while I talk. What I didn't know, oh, thank you, sorry, hard to hear. Where's my Zoom at H1? So my lovely FPV case here. What I didn't know when I got into FPV, I really wanted to be able to fly these drones and do it. Can you hear me? My son's asleep. That joke's only gonna go that loud. What I didn't know is how much I would actually have to like physically repair these things. And it turns out you will crash them, 100% guaranteed you will crash. There's no real way to land these drones compared to any DJI drones that you might be familiar with. And so when flying, I now have to have a whole bunch of screws and spare parts because I will break them. And it kind of sucks to be like, to have one small crash, an arm falls off your drone, and for you to be like, well, I'm done for the day. Because the other thing about FPV is that the batteries are really, really finicky. And you can't leave them charged. If you leave them charged, they will stop working after like 2 days. And so you charge them right before you need them, and then you use them. And so if you crash your drone and you've got like 4 batteries that you haven't used up, you've got to go home and individually decharge those batteries back to the voltage where they won't degenerate. And so fixing your stuff is important. But that's sort of what got me into all of this stuff. And like, I've had tools and I've had circular saw, like I've done stuff. I built this table at some point, which required 3 cuts. And then the bottom of it is pretty simple in how it all came together. But sort of forcing myself to have to repair my own stuff is what made a big difference in me starting to try to not get more handy, but get more into making and that sort of stuff. And so I'm really excited to take Mark Rober's class in March, I guess. It starts on the last day of February. But I'm really excited to take that and to sort of look at projects in a different way, because everything that I do is a non-physical piece of art. I make videos, I make music. I'm not good at painting. I'm really bad at sewing. And so this other skill set of like creating physical stuff, where sometimes I don't have the patience for it. There's software as I do stuff with videos, I can streamline my process. If I always color things a certain way, I can make a preset for that, and it moves things along quickly. But to start to take the time to say, like, there is no shortcut when you're sanding something, when you're painting something. There is no like, well, I did this on the last 5, so all I have to do is copy and paste. It takes a long time. And Jay, I know you've done a lot of woodworking and some really cool stuff, and that's not where I've been for a long time. And so after sort of realizing that I could, after I repaired my FPV drone for the first time, I started to think, what else could I do? And so that's sort of why I'm excited about this whole space, and having a little bit of room to spread out, having a big table that I can work on, having all my gear within arm's reach and laid out in a way that's helpful. But the biggest thing, and this is what I was saying with my tool chest, the biggest thing with all of this for me is the concept of a blank canvas. To be able to look down here and not see a pile of storage, not see just a whole bunch of clutter and storage, to have it be a useful space. When I come down here and my table is empty, which it was until I put this tube on it and the FPV case, but to come down to a blank slate and say, what do I want to do down here? Do I want to film product videos, Well, I can set that up. I've got the turntable, I've got backdrops, I've got cameras, I've got lights. I can do that. That's exciting. And to come down and see that potential or say, hey, I want to record some YouTube videos and set up a little studio, to say I want to do tutorials, to say I want to build something video aside. I want to get tools out and create something. I've got the sawhorses, I've got a shop vac for the sawdust. It can all happen down here. And that's something that's new to me. And that sort of potential is a responsibility, because I think a lot of us in the creative space, we look at gear, we watch YouTube videos about other people's gear, and we think, oh man, if I had that, then I could do this, this, and this. And then we buy that and we don't do this, this, or this. And we need one more thing. We don't have the same, and then something new comes out and it's always this and that. And there's people who are scrappy and who do stuff and it's awesome. And you look at them and you're like, what do they have that I don't? Nothing. They have less than I have, but they have a drive. And that is something that I've hidden behind and struggled with, where it's something that I know I can do. And I'm not discounting other people that do it. I'm not saying I can do exactly what they do, but if you're anything like me, you may have watched videos from Daniel Schiffer's channel or Austin Paul's channel, and they're doing awesome gear related stuff and like product videography and doing sweet editing, and it's like I can do that. I mean, they're making those videos to show us how to do that, but I always look at that stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, well, if I wanted to, I could have like a whole portfolio of sweet product stuff, and I could get clients like that and just, wake up, shoot something awesome in my basement and make money from it, and pay my contractors on time. And I don't. I haven't. Instead, I have excuses and I think, well, I need one more C stand if I'm really gonna do that. And now I have four, and it's just I don't wanna leave a legacy of potential. But for a long time, the biggest hurdle for me creatively was the space down here, and thinking like all the YouTube videos that I shot last year, I until December when I shot down here, all of those I shot up in my office. And in order to shoot anything, I would have to bring everything up the stairs because I didn't like how it looked down here. It was just a cluttered basement storage. But I had to bring everything upstairs and set everything up. And because my office is also like the room where we watch TV, it's the guest bedroom when we're not in a pandemic. And like my son plays in there. So I can't just leave stands and cameras up. And so that was like an obstacle between me and creation, is like, oh, I don't want to, I'm not going to bring everything up because that's a half an hour of work. And I have 2 hours of nap time, best case scenario. And I don't want to spend half of it loading gear up and down the steps just to try to film something. So now with this space optimized for the way I want it, I'm excited to not have the excuse anymore to not create. And I've got things lined up and planned for this month. I'm just finishing Casey Neistat's class, which I'm gonna make a review about, but it's useful. And if nothing else, and I said this in my when I signed up for it, I made a video about that. But the inspiration of watching him create and watching any of your favorite creators, watching them create is an inspiration. And regardless of how much I learned from the technical elements and the like tutorial videos throughout, I'm eager to make stuff. And today I don't share stuff. I don't share the image of my son on social media and on my YouTube channel. But today, he and I went on what we call the train hike, which is a short trail in Forest Park that goes over the Metrolink light rail. And when you go over, there's a little bridge, and you can see the trains go underneath. And so we made a video like running, setting up the camera, walking toward it, and then turning it around, walking away from it. And he, at 2.5, was into it and excited about it and having fun. But I wouldn't have done that if it weren't for this class and some of the things that I'm doing. And it's not that this video is amazing, but it was fun to do and I was excited. And so I'm excited to take that momentum, take that inspiration, and now equipped with a space and de-equipped of excuses and obstacles, I'm excited to create. And so I've got a calendar, and I'm going to make a video about this in the coming weeks. But I have a calendar of content that I'm going to try to stick to, and I'm gonna do some product photography, and I'm gonna do some videography and trying to do more editing stuff and do tutorials along the way, and not trying to grow a YouTube channel out of it. That's never my goal, but it's exciting and I like making stuff and I like looking back on what I made, and this space finally equips me to do a lot of stuff without that obstacle of clutter, which for me is a big obstacle to creativity. So, yeah, I'm excited. This is a space down here that I've set up to work for myself, and I'm excited to get to it in the coming weeks. So, thanks for watching. If you've got any tips, if you've got things that you notice that I've done wrong or missed opportunities, or if you've got gear that I really should have, if I want to be serious about this, let me know. Let me know. Thanks, Jay and Dane, for hanging out in the comments and having a good time. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. And I will pay both of you next week, I hope, as funds finally come in, because everyone paid late. What I had happen, since we're being open and honest here, this has never been an issue before, but all my invoices say net 30. They always have. It's never mattered before, and everyone pays when they get the invoice. That's it. Like no one does the whole net 30 thing. Like they just, when they get the invoice, they pay it. And simultaneously, my two clients that I'm working with right now, the first one had this, they were supposed to pay me in December before this shoot we had in January, and then we had to change something in the invoice right before the trip, and because of that, I had to update the invoice, and they said that that reset it, and then with net 30, they're like, "Well, we're not gonna pay it till February," the accounting department said. And I was like, "That's not, no, no, don't do, why? That isn't good." So now there's nothing we can do. That money's gonna come in February. And then the other client that I did a job with, Jay, um, they also have always paid, like, as soon as they got the invoice, and I asked, they said like, "Oh, it should be in the mail." And after it wasn't for 2 weeks, I reached out and I'm like, I know you guys are saying no worries, but it's funny to me. And I would like, I mean, this video wasn't to out myself as being late in paying you guys. But this other thing, so the other client also always pays instantly. And then they too said like, "Well, actually the check didn't go out because your terms were net 30." And I'm like, my terms have been net 30 for 13 years. And even with these two clients, there's never been that issue. Like they've paid the net 30 invoices as soon as they got them. And so I had to change my terms and resubmit some things, but everything is slightly delayed all of a sudden because people decided to flex on the net 30, which I've been okay with. They're not breaking any policies. I just didn't know. I was expecting different when not requiring it, and accounting departments changed protocols without warning. So lesson learned. I'm sure there will be a video about that in the coming weeks. But yeah, that's where I am. But thank you. All that is to say, thank you both for watching. And I think I owe you even more now for sitting through this live stream. But I'll talk to both of you soon, and to whoever the third person is watching this right now, and anyone who watches this later. I appreciate it very much, especially if you made it this far on a rewatch of it, not live. That means a ton to me. So thanks for watching. See you later. Bye. Can I maintain eye contact with the camera while turning off? No, I can't.